Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is Transfers Live. Joining me is my favourite co-host.
Oh, Alex, shots fired, mate. Shots fired.
I say that to all the boys. Joe Smith. Joe, how we doing, mate?
I'm doing very well. It's a shame there's been no news today, isn't it?
I'm sorry you've had to join us tonight, or we're doing this tonight. I should say join us like it's my show, and it isn't.
Well, it is.
So we're doing this tonight when there's literally nothing happening.
No.
I think it's going to be a very short and sweet episode because no stories about any players coming or going, no links to any strikers or wingers.
I know this hasn't happened. What would have been great is if there'd have been about 4 different transfers about stories about Sancho. We'd have been linked with Dembele, Jovic, Cavani. We've had about 4 players being sold. That would have been great. But unfortunately, nothing doing. Can you believe it today, Jay?
Can you believe?
There's been so much transfer news, hasn't there? What has actually happened?
It's ridiculous. The other day it was like, I was trolling the internet all evening like, what are we going to talk about? And then today it was like, boom, Sancho, boom, Dembele, boom, Cavani, boom, Jovic, boom, all the squad are leaving.
Yeah.
We'll start with the obvious one, Jadon Sancho. But before we get to that, there's a poll over on that there Twitter. I think it's actually been and gone. If you want to go through that, Joe, because
we put a poll out on Twitter and we said, with all this Man United transfer news, who will United sign? Sancho, Dembele, or neither? 52% said Sancho, which is surprising. Only 8 saying Dembele, 38 saying neither. So the overriding opinion appears that people think we are still going to sign Sancho. And let's get into some news because it's been popping off. We've only got an hour. We've got 1 hour to get through all this. Well, maybe not. Bumper episode.
If something happens.
Better get started.
Yeah, because the thing with Jadon Sancho, as everyone knows, and as you all know, because you've been covering news, Late Night Live and Paper Talk, is we have all this sort of stuff where non-stories come out.
Yeah.
United want Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho wants to come. Terms are agreed with Jadon Sancho's agent. Jadon Sancho, is keen on a move to Old Trafford, and it's all more or less meaningless. We know we've been at this stage for months. He wants to come. We want him. He would come. There's a price that Dortmund have named. We haven't met it.
Yeah.
No official bid. But then, all of a sudden, tonight, we start hearing stories coming out that there is a bid. Now, Sky Sports News, you may have heard of them, they had a headline that Manchester United have made a £91.3 million bid, which has been rejected. Now, you can see as well, to add a sort of twist to this, Marco Reus even, the Dortmund captain, he came out earlier and he was saying, as you can see in the graphic, that Jadon Sancho's not going anywhere. He said, we're all happy that he will be with us for the season. He delivers points for the team, goals, assists. In the end, that translates to a lot of points. So you've got the story doing that we've got in. We've got a bid that Dortmund aren't having, but you've also got the conflicting story of Marco Reus saying he's not going anywhere. He's staying. Where does he stand on this?
I stand on he's going to say that, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know when that quote was taken. I don't mean what day. I mean, did someone ask him about Sancho? Did someone say, is Sancho staying?
Yeah, I think
he's not going to come out and say, well, actually, I know that our club's been very vocal publicly about him staying, but actually, here's a little trick for you. He's leaving. I don't know what's happened there. Let's pop to the top of the screen. Marco Reus is never going to come out and say, no, actually, you know what, he's leaving. Sorry to undermine the club that I am the captain of and what they want to put out story-wise about Jadon Sancho. But I hate to tell you guys, he's fucking off in 2 weeks.
Good riddance.
He's not going to say that. Of course he's going to say, oh, I'm so happy he's staying, because that follows the line of the club. The official word from the club is he's staying for another season at least. So Reus is going to go along with that. Of course he's going to give him credit. He's going to say his points, goals, assists, all that sort of thing. He's never going to come out and say anything other than what he said there. Look, goals, assists in the end, that translates to a lot of points. What points mean prizes? What is this? Of course he's going to say that.
Well, there was some slight intrigue this evening. I know you're a man of it.
I'll be the judge of that. You tell me what it is. I'll tell you if there's any merit to it at all, Jay.
I'm going to lose it tonight. You know.
Yeah,
I'm already a bit overexcited.
I'm buzzing tonight
with the amount of stories we've got to cover. The fact that I'm on with you. There was some intrigue because Jadon Sancho hasn't travelled with Dortmund to the is it the Super Cup game or whatever it is, because he had a COVID test. He's not got COVID, but because of the test and the results or whatever, he's not travelled. So there was some sort of intrigue there because people were saying he's not with the squad, not because of this COVID thing, but because he's leaving.
Well, he's obviously right. He's either got some sort of illness which has similar symptoms to COVID but isn't COVID, or he's leaving. Now, I'd almost forgotten in this story. What this story has done for me is it's reminded me that there are other diseases in the world other than COVID. Can you believe that someone could have a headache or a temperature and then not have COVID? I don't know what it could possibly have. I thought we got rid of all the other diseases. Dortmund's pesky flus.
Dortmund tweeted, Jadon Sancho and Roman Burki, forgive me for pronouncing that wrong, will not fly. Good knowledge. Will not fly to Munich as a result of respiratory infections. Additionally, both players tested negatively for COVID.
Yeah.
19.
They've got a little chest infection, got a cough.
Respiratory infections. So yeah, people have put 2 and 2 together and come up with 703.
Really? Yeah.
Do you reckon? Because there was like this thing of, I saw someone as well quote tweeting an article when Jadon Sancho was at City saying that he was ill when he wanted to leave. I'm not gonna start throwing shade at him and saying, oh, that's the sort of thing he does. Or that even that he isn't in the squad because he's getting sold to Manchester United. I mean, I'd love it if that was true. I'd take it on face value.
Yeah.
I'd take it on face value that he's not well.
Yeah, he's coughing into a tissue, isn't he?
He's coughing into a tissue.
Yeah, like an old lady on a bench in the middle of town.
Do you use a handkerchief? Or do you I can imagine you having your own little handkerchief, maybe with your initials on.
I have a folded nest of dock leaves that I can use to stop the pain of a nettle sting. I can sneeze into it. I can wipe my anus with it if I get caught short on Market Street. Dock leaves are a cure-all, basically.
My son, when we were talking about walking in lockdown, I'll move on from this very quickly, don't worry. He got stung by a nettle, was showing off, look, it don't even hurt, then started crying, and I couldn't find any dock leaves, so I just found a leaf and pretended it was a dock leaf, and then he was magically cured, even though it didn't do anything.
Be honest, was that a sanitary towel? It was. Yeah.
No, it's a dock leaf.
I found that in the Piccadilly Gardens.
Anyway, we digress. As you can see, the times on Jadon Sancho.
We've missed. There's so many quotes and so many stories tonight. Put the last one back on.
Have I missed one?
Put the one about the bid on from Sky Germany.
Talking about Miss Stung getting stung.
Right, here's one. Borussia Dortmund reject €80 million plus €20 million add-on bid for Jadon Sancho. Dortmund tells Man United the player is not for sale.
Right.
Do you believe that?
I hope that didn't end up on the actual screen. Right. Make that. Can you enlarge
Aaron
that,
Quinn
please?
with the super chat says, I wonder if United's PR team is smart enough to go, look, how much we've offered Dortmund, but they refused. We did try, but here's 4 other signings for you.
That would be great.
Do you think they will say that?
I have little or no confidence in Manchester United or our PR team. I will say, we'll get on to the other signings and other potential signings because there is quite a lot. Going back to your comment now from Sky Germany, that Dortmund have rejected €80 million plus 20 million add-ons. And they've told us he's not for sale. Now, me and you have discussed this extensively over the last few weeks. Do you think he is for sale?
Yes, of course he is. I mean, the truth is, maybe at this point in the window he's not. Maybe at some point they actually do just say, you know what, no matter what you pay, we can't afford to get someone in to replace him. He's one of our best players, maybe our best player, alongside Marco Reus. No matter what you pay, you're not having him. And maybe that has happened. But to me, if they're willing to sell him before, they're probably willing to sell him now. They can probably get someone to replace him on short notice, even if it has to be a loan or another deal. I'm sure they've had people lined up for all summer because they knew they might sell him. So it's not like they're just going to go, oh shit, he has gone. We should have got someone else in. They're going to have people who they've been speaking to, much in the same way that we are in conversation with Sancho's team. I'm sure they've been speaking to. Sarr was one who was mentioned. There was a few other wingers mentioned to possibly replace Sancho there at Dortmund.
That Bellingham was seen as a replacement for him, and they brought him in. I mean, obviously they're playing together. But he was saying like they got Jude Bellingham in because long term, or not even long term really, they just see that Jadon Sancho is going to go. Jude Bellingham comes in and can sort of progress to the levels that hopefully he can progress in their case to the levels that Sancho was at over the next few years. But obviously he's only young. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Just guys, do get involved in the comments. Hit like as well. Keep liking the video. I'm just going to go through the comments now. Aine Evans says Sancho will be a deadline day signing. Imagine that.
I wouldn't mind it.
That would look like Berbatov signing on deadline day.
I mean, obviously, I don't want it to drag on that long. But if we did get him on deadline day, it would be fantastic, wouldn't it? You know that we haven't had that deadline day rush in so long where you're going, oh, it's not happening. It is. Last time we got deadline day, Igalo, which, it turned out that we like Igalo, but we didn't know we liked him when we signed him. No. We just thought he was some player playing in the Chinese league who wasn't that good at Watford.
I went on the radio, I was asked about it. It was at Watford, and I was like, this is a joke, we're a shambles, and then I fell in love with him somewhat.
We've got a new poll on Stretford Paddock Twitter as well. If you want to get stuck in on that, we'll come back to that as the show goes on. With less than a week to go, are you still confident United can get Sancho this transfer window? Somewhat stepping on the toes of the previous poll we did, but it's slightly more specific to Sancho only.
There's one vote at the minute, which I'm quite sure if you refresh that, there'd be more than one vote.
Yeah, refresh, please. Stats coming in. Less votes than before, 0 votes. There was one, we refreshed it, it's now down to 0. Explain that. We'll come back to that as the show goes on.
I think we should do, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
One of the quotes we saw at the start, Jay, that I'd like to come back to is Fabrizio Romano saying no bid has been made for Jadon Sancho. And David Ornstein said a similar thing earlier tonight as well, that no official club-to-club bid has been made. Now, the use of the term club-to-club, I mean, whilst I'm sure it was big in caveman times, is new to me. Now, what does that mean? Because for all we've been told, these deals have been done through intermediaries. Stefan Lichtsteiner's brother's been knocking about, agents, Mendes and Raiola's of the world sneaking in and trying to get a piece of the pie. This club-to-club, it's a strange terminology that Ornstein's used there that I haven't heard used before, which suggests to me he's saying it for a reason. It's not some coincidence or an accident.
I always thought that the way this is going to go with these intermediaries that we keep hearing about, like you mentioned there with Stefan Lichtsteiner's brothers and others getting involved, we sort of know already that Sancho will come. We know that he's happy with the deal he's been offered. And that's not the issue. The issue is, can a deal be made that Dortmund are happy with and that Manchester United are happy with? So I've always assumed that's what these intermediaries are discussing, is, well, this is what we'll do and this is what United will bid and this is where Dortmund are saying, well, they're happy with it. So I'm expecting that what's happened here is that whoever's representing or doing the side on the United side is saying, okay, here's what we can offer. This is the offer. And this is where we're getting this £91.3 million or €100 million from. Just go back to that super chat if you can, mate.
Yeah, there's another comment there while we get back to that from Jess saying, what buffing wax does Jay use? Now, I can tell you for a fact he won't tell you this, but he actually uses a salami with a very high fat content as a sort of roll-on buffing wax, don't you? And you
none of that vegan shit.
No, you keep that in the fridge.
Yes, I do. So Shantz Dahar says, we can do with a Sancho stopgap for a year, but we can't compete with 2 slabhead defenders. Sancho won't help with the crap defence we have. The board have misplaced priorities. Glory, glory, Man United. Tell us what you think about the defence there, Shant. Don't sit on the fence. Tell us really what you think about our defenders. Listen, whilst I don't sort of think our defence is as bad as he does, I get where you're coming from in the sense that we can't... Jadon Sancho would be an amazing signing, but we still need other signings, don't we? Even if we got him, we still need to address the problems we've got in defence and elsewhere. Just having a look what else is being said. Come on, Paul Lucas says, come on football, Jesus, we need a prayer.
Sorry, can't issue it at the moment. We've got another comment there in the background. If we could just move the comments out of the way for a second, we can read through that. This is from Fabrizio Romano. He said, during the last context, Borussia Dortmund told again to Manchester United they won't accept any bid for less than €120 million for Sancho. Still the same position. United were ready to make a bid at around €90 million, but it would be refused. Now that is sort of melding together this idea that no bid has been made, which is what David Ornstein said, and this story that a bid has been made. He's sort of saying they had one ready at €90 million, but it would be refused. Dortmund are still convinced to keep Sancho this season. The whole thing of they still won't accept any bid less than €120 million. Why are we coming back with €90 million? What is this?
It doesn't make any sense because, do you remember when Dortmund set this deadline?
Yeah.
Dortmund were quite clear from the offset what they wanted for Jadon Sancho and when they wanted it by. It was €120 million and it was by the 10th of August. That's your deadline, that's your amount. Anything else is off the table, forget about it. And United, in our infinite wisdom, ignored that deadline completely. Didn't put a bid in, just let it go, come and go. And now it seems have sort of stepped up the negotiations and are now trying to say, well, okay, well, what about if we gave you €90 million? Would you accept that? And the Dortmund side are going, no. We told you what we wanted, and that's, it's past the deadline and it's not enough anyway.
United are treating this like a car boot, aren't they? Where you're like, what I'll do is I'll walk around the car boot. First time round, I'll go, oh, those magazines look good. Yeah. Well, how much you want for them? 30 quid. 30 quid. See you later, boy. and then you walk round, come back just as the packet. Oh, don't put them in the boot. What about 15 quid? And go on then. Whereas actually, Dortmund are treating it like a shop. Where imagine walking into Tesco like that. Mars bar, how much? 80p. What, 20p? There you go. And he's like, no, not 20p.
No, and then it's like...
If you come back to Tesco 6 weeks later, they're not just going to give you the Mars bar for 20p because you waited about a bit.
We've actually got some votes now on our poll. Go on, Joe.
With less than a week to go, are you still confident MUFC, Manchester United Football Club, Jay, can get Sancho this transfer window? 37% saying yes we can, 19% saying I'm not sure. I like
love
that. Ooh, agnostic. And then a whopping 42.8% saying no, I'm done with this.
I'm with the 42.8%, mate.
Oh, yeah.
I've said all along, because, not all along, I've always known that, but since we started speaking to journalists who know a lot more about these sort of things than I do, they've always said, the ones over in Germany we spoke to said, listen, it means something to Dortmund, this deadline.
Yeah.
It means something to Dortmund, this figure you're putting on it. It means something to Dortmund, the fact that Bayern Munich have just won every trophy imaginable and went on a 23-game winning run or whatever it was.
A spree. Call it a spree,
yeah, a spree. And the fact that Uni Hoeneß came out and said, oh, Dortmund are a selling club.
I know.
It means something to them, and they don't have to sell Jadon Sancho because also, let's not forget, he signed a contract till 2023 that almost went under the radar when all this sort of talk was beginning. So I don't know, I just get the feeling that it might be next summer.
He might as well have called them stupid yellow losers, that guy, hadn't he? Stupid, look, their kit looks like bees, and they're shit, and they sell other players. Literally bullying them out of his own mouth. Ross Murphy with the 499 super chat. Thank you very much, Ross. What you make of the strikers interested me personally. I'll go with Jovic if he's fully fit. I like Cavani, he's a good striker, but there's a Falcao in him, I worry. We're going to be getting on to those two stories in a little while.
Yes.
We'll give our opinions on that very shortly, don't you worry about that. Again, this is that David Ornstein quote I was talking about before. Ousmane Dembele, someone else who we're going to be moving on to, is in Man United's thoughts. Oh, like a little love letter.
You've been our thoughts.
Just writing to you, man. You've been in my thoughts every day since the war began. As a loan option, if United don't sign Jadon Sancho, and talks have taken place. No club-to-club bid. Again, what is that?
This is new. I'm with you. Club to club. I thought I'd seen it all.
That is a specific sentence.
Why say
I believe that is the words of someone else that he is repeating. No club-to-club bid for Sancho yet. Liaising via intermediaries. Again,
so that's it. It's like
standard liaise, as United call it.
I hope these intermediaries are better. I think Macker was who tweeted something. Do you remember the Ander Herrera intermediaries who didn't actually work for Manchester United Football Club?
See, this might have been better because Jose used to manage intermediaries, didn't he, in 2010? So if he was still at the club, he'd have got this deal done. He'd have got this deal done.
On that comment there, or that quote from David Ornstein, who is a very reliable source, he said Ousmane Dembele is in Man United's thoughts. Is he in your thoughts?
Always
and
in
prayers,
always in my thoughts,
my friend.
As you know. Hope the war will be over soon. He's not in my thoughts particularly, no. My only thoughts on Ousmane Dembele, we'll get to these super chats in a minute, thank you very much for sending them in. My thoughts on Ousmane Dembele is he's injury prone. I don't know if he's even any better than Mason Greenwood. Sancho's a different prospect because he'll get you 20 goals, 20 assists, or scale that down potentially if you want to for the Premier League or not. Ousmane Dembele is one of those players that on his best day he's incredible, but how many of them have we seen in the last 3 years?
Very, very injury prone.
It's ridiculous.
And, you know, I am that guy.
We didn't sign Bale because... Bale.
Bale.
Gareth Bale. We didn't sign Bale because his injury prone and his wages were too high. Well, that was on a loan. Let alone spending 70 million on someone who's just as injury prone, who I'm sure is on ridiculous wages at Barcelona.
I've not seen a lot of Ousmane Dembele, but I've not been impressed when I've seen him. He came on against the Scousers, fluffed his lines. I do hold on to that, and I'm sorry. People going about time. He came on, he could have made it 4-0 in the new camp, and he didn't. And then they went and win the Champions League, and the next season win the league, and it's all his fault because if he took them chances, none of that would have happened.
Ian S with the super chat. £5, thank you very much, Ian. He said, if we don't buy Sancho, Ole won't last the season. I think he'll be found out this season and only better players will save him.
You know, that seems like one of those comments that people were making last season. If it wasn't for Bruno, Ole would have lost his job. Right, okay. If it wasn't for the player that he bought and played, then Ole would have not been a success or would not have kept his job. I wouldn't have a go at Ole because we haven't got the right players, and I think he wants these players. I think the problem is the board don't want to give him the players that he needs and the players that we need to challenge, because you look at the business that other clubs have done, including Liverpool, City, Chelsea, the teams that finished above us and in Chelsea's case on level on points with us. We're not even getting close to their sort of transfers.
And as they say, Jay, the famous saying, if you haven't got any kids, you can't win Mum's Net Mum of the Year. It's as simple as that. You just can't. You're not even up for it.
Shouldn't even be entering it.
Yeah.
Really.
So if Ole hasn't signed anyone, you can't be getting bailed out by those signings.
As they say, if you haven't got any kids, what are you doing outside the playground at 3:30?
Yeah, exactly. That's the saying.
That's what they used to say to me until I had kids.
MD saying, hypothetical, Pogba for Sancho? Nah.
No, I saw someone tweeting this about Pogba. We can give people Pogba. No, listen, That is not the right idea to get rid of Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not a great start to the season, but he is a very good player. He's one of our best players, if not our most talented player. Getting rid of him and getting someone in doesn't make us better. It's probably a sideways move if
Jay,
it's that.
I'm sorry to get my phone out. I'm getting a lot of comments here saying that Fabrizio was just tweeted.
Go on.
Shall I find out what that's all about?
Oh, hang on a minute. I was on his page a minute ago.
He said right, here we go. Live on Twitter. Here we are. He said, as follows. Just a second.
Is this the Ruben
Here
Diaz
we go.
deal that he's tweeted?
No, he said, during the last contact, Borussia Dortmund, this was earlier, we've seen on there, he's told again to Manchester United they won't accept any bid for less than 120 million for Sancho, as we've seen on the screen there. Still in the same position, United were ready to make a new deal, a new bid around 90 million, but would be refused. He has recently tweeted also that, to be clear, people around Sancho confirmed that United have not made an official bid, but they were ready to. Dembele is not an advanced deal, and Man United would only consider a loan, which is different to some of the things that we have seen in recent hours, talking about £60-70 million fee for Ousmane Dembele.
Right, so that's the latest from the man himself, Fabrizio Romano. What do you make of all that?
It fills me with some confidence, or it doesn't really fill me with confidence. It fills me with less dread, the idea of signing Dembele on a loan, than it does spending maybe 70-80 million for someone who, for me, is a big step down, and there's too many red flags with him. He's too many red flags. So the idea of getting him on a loan, I don't mind that. Let's see if he's any good. Might bridge the gap to Sancho next year, and if he can play, I'm sure he'd be good. I would much prefer that to spending what would be probably 3/4 of the Sancho sum on someone that isn't 3/4 of the player.
My only worry with that is you're bringing in someone who's had terrible injury problems. He's coming into a league he's never played in before. He's your signing. You bring him in. He gets injured, and then we're back to square one, and it's Odi Nagalo's coming in when when you need to rest Martial, Greenwood, or Marcus Rashford.
There he
I'm going to forget the man himself. Yeah. Ben Huddart on the super chat says, "Do you think United will end up giving in and paying 120 million euros for Sancho?" I personally think the ship has sailed.
Do you?
I do.
I think that we will pay it, and that we will
prevail.
Here's what I will say. Don't be surprised on the final hours of transfer deadline, unless it becomes, finally clear, or sort of there's a definite line in the sand drawn of it's not happening. Don't be surprised to see United bid 120 million euros for him
real?
That gets rejected. Eric Dyer just left the pitch to poo. Mourinho ran after him. How do we know he left it to poo? Was he holding his bum? Don't be surprised to see that some huge bid was made by United that was rejected in the final minutes, the final hours. Don't be surprised to see some story coming out of the club that's, we really tried, 120 million, they won't have it in the end. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
This just stinks, right, of the first summer under Woodward with Moyes, where I spoke about the Ander Herrera debacle. We had do you remember the Fabio Contral bid at half-10 at night where Real Madrid went, well, we can't sell him because we ain't got time to buy anyone else now.
Yeah, but
there's like 8 minutes left of the transfer window. You're stupid. And we ended up paying more for Marouane Fellaini than his actual buyout clause was. We've not learned anything in those 7.5 years, or 7 years, whatever it's been. We've just not. And Ed Woodward or Matt Judge or whoever you want to blame haven't learned anything. And this brinkmanship and this waiting to the last minute, to me, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you were talking about Dortmund are going to be put in a position where if they wanted to reinvest that 120 million, because when we spoke to Christian Falk, he said the one thing is that 120 million could go a long way for Dortmund. But if you leave it until the 11th hour and they can't buy anyone else, then them having money in the bank's no good to them if they've just weakened their team massively, which taking Jadon Sancho out would do.
Yeah.
Abby Nagpal says, get Partey and Upamecano instead of Sancho. For now, we'll love either of those signings, especially both of them. I don't know if that's going to happen. We've not been linked enough with Thomas Partey to make me think...
We've not been linked with him at all, really, have we?
To make me think there's anything there. Liam Jones says, we'll get Sancho, Cavani and Tellez. We'll get Sancho, Cavani and Tellez. By next Monday, trust I have my sources. He knows
you
it
don't.
Liam,
you know absolutely naffle. But thanks for the comment.
Listen, he has his sauces. I don't know you, Liam. Maybe you do.
Yeah, you've got ketchup in the fridge. That's what sauces you've got.
Maybe he does. The trouble is, Liam, what you may notice is that lots and lots of people on the internet say they have their sources and that they know something and that they've got like inside info and whatnot. And a lot of the time, they haven't. And a lot of the time people say things like, I'm hearing, don't shoot the messenger, but Jadon Sancho could be happening anytime soon.
And what's my motto, Jay? Always shoot the messenger.
Oh, yes.
Because if they were such an upstanding person, they wouldn't be so happy delivering bad news, would they?
No.
Always shoot the messenger.
They want to, also, can I say happy birthday to Andy Bishop? He tweeted me before.
Lovely.
He did. I said I'd give him a shout out on his birthday. That's what I was looking for. I can't remember his name. So if you're watching Andy, happy birthday. And if you're not, why are you not watching on your birthday? That's what you should be spending your birthday doing, watching us talk about transfers.
Should we move on to some other players, Jay?
Why not? We've got another 27 to get through.
Exactly. All of Europe awaits. Come on, Jay, get into it.
Right, who's next on the list? Is it Jovic? Is it Cavani? Who have you got for me? No? Anyone?
Here he comes. Here
Go
he
on.
comes.
Hey. And as you can see, Di Marzio.
Blast from the past.
I always feel like Di Marzio's like, I don't know, he's like the forgotten man almost, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's like
Danny Welbeck before Marcus came on the scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everyone says Danny Welbeck, came through the academy, great, and then it's
showed
like,
so much potential, didn't
oh
he?
yeah, Welbeck's rubbish. Marcus is the one.
Yeah.
Look how good he is.
Yeah.
And then it's a bit like now with Mason, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Di Marzio, who was sort of the Mister.
The OGs will remember
yes.
Di Marzio.
He was like the
In the room when
he was like
Darmian signed the contract.
It was like
for
the
Man
easy
United.
before Snoop Dogg came along. He said Manchester United are looking for a new striker. Talks ongoing with Edison Cavani and with Real Madrid for Luka Jovic loan.
So many loans these days.
It's so loans.
More loans than a bloody Blockbuster these days, isn't it?
Blockbuster. You remember that Blockbuster video?
Blockbuster, global video as well.
Those were global, yeah.
Diminished.
The one near me was called Title.
Title.
Title. Sorry, yeah. Charged me 45 quid once because I lost one of the films. Anyway,
45 quid.
That was massive money.
Paying to reshoot it. 45 quid for
this is like
for a
93
video.
or something.
For a video.
The average wage was like 2 and
Was
6.
it like an eight-piece box set of like some
It was
Michael
like,
Palin around the world in
went
80 days?
They went in hard with the fines to like make sure you didn't just nick the videos.
They were making an example of you.
Yeah.
You were the first person ever to bring a video back late.
I think might have been some racial sense there, but never mind.
Right, talks on going with Edinson Cavani and with Real Madrid
Right,
for
let's
Jovic.
split that into two things. Edison Cavani, yes or no, my friend?
I think he's better than Igalo. What is he, 33? It would be a free transfer. I believe he's out of contract at the moment, so the idea, I assume there would
It's just the £8 million a week that all want wages.
Yeah,
but I get where you're coming from.
The idea, I suppose, is that we would get him from a year, supposedly, and that's what I've seen reported. He's a good player. He's one of those players that throughout his career, he scored a ton of goals, but you watch him, he misses chances. He's one of those strikers where he's a very good striker. I don't know what impact we expect him to have or what we want from him.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
Go on.
I'm laughing. Go up a little bit or down. Anthony Jarvis in capitals. That's because rental shops paid £45 to the production companies for the copies they rented out. Thank you, Anthony.
Wow, Anthony Jarvis.
Simon Dawson.
Former head of title video in Glossop.
Still angry, isn't he?
Yeah,
Still
he
angry.
is.
Would you accept no Sancho if it meant we bought Sarr, Tellez and Upamecano? Lots of would yous, what about it, whatever you want to call it.
Is the alternative we just get Sancho and we don't get Tellez? Because I think we're getting Tellez either way, personally.
Yeah, I think that's...
So if it was Tellez and Sancho or Sarr, Tellez and Upamecano, I would take Tellez and Sancho, yeah, I would.
Do you worry with Cavani that he's just come from a league that some people derogatorily call it the Farmers League? I'm not going to say that because obviously, the French league...
Derisory.
Derisory, thank you. Isn't that bad? But he's come from that league. He didn't have the best season last, did he? All right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like one of his classic seasons where he was banging him in for fun like he normally does. Do you worry that at the age of 33, he's coming for a league where he's probably had one of his poorer seasons into the Premier League? And let's face facts now, we need to start worrying about the Premier League, not just what can he do in the cups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What can he do in the Premier League? Is it going to be a bit too much for him?
The reason I don't like it mostly, I agree that there's a potential that he's going to be washed up and that you're going to see some aging player, come in and just be a shadow of his former self. But the thing for me is, Edinson Cavani, what does that say as a transfer? What are we trying to do with that transfer? He's coming in for a year, maybe 2 if you're pushing it, but even then he's probably, like, if he's this level now, he'll be this level next year. It's the transfer of a team that thinks they're going to be challenging for titles. It's a final piece of the jigsaw. It's a backup so that we can rest players to really push. Like, is Cavani going to play in the Carling Cup so we can try and win the FA Cup? We're not trying to win the Premier League. We're not trying to, like, I don't get it. It's not building towards anything. We're at a stage where we're building. We need young players who are good so we can move forward and win some trophies in a couple of years. Cavani doesn't help that. Igalo already pegs the gap for now so we can literally just rest players, just a body on the pitch. We've already got that. What does Cavani do as a transfer? He doesn't seem to fit the ethos that we're meant to be going for. Again, alone for Jovic, he's a better... Well, I don't know if he's not a better player than Cavani historically, but I don't quite understand... Get him in as well. Like, why are we getting loans for positions we've already got backups in? We don't have any right wingers. Get a loan for a right winger if we need to, because we don't have any. We've got 2 strikers. Cavani's the final piece of a jigsaw so that a team can rest someone so you're going to win the Champions League or you can rest him here, there or whatever. We need to be building. Our team needs to be better in 2 years than it is now. And if you get Cavani in, it's no better, it's worse.
Gary Inston's asking, why didn't you ask the French journalist about Upamecano today? I was quite upset about this. We spoke to Mohamed Bouhassi on the Tier 1 Transfer podcast. We sent him a few questions. Upamecano, as far as we know, is not happening. So if that changes, we'll keep you updated. But that's one of the reasons why. Aaron Quinn on Super Chat. I know you lads are focusing on transfers, but do you think the reason we aren't in for a DM is because we have 3 youngsters that can go there? Garner, Levitt, Galbraith. 2 are out on loan, of course. Possibly. You could say that you look at it and you think if Nemanja Matic has another season in him, could someone like Jimmy Garner come in next season? That is always an option, especially with Glazonomics and the sort of, as well as the fact that Ollie does like to give youth the chance. So, yeah, more than likely. I think these loan opportunities are... who's this one? Alex Bagley. Jay, would you take Sancho if it meant you and Howson couldn't talk about the 91 Cup Winners' Cup ever again? I'd be like the devil, you know, when you sell your soul to the devil and he makes a deal with you and then twists it and goes back on it. I'd say, all right, then I'll never do it again, but then I would.
And then you'd be smited. Yeah. You would be smote.
I'd be smote.
By our devil.
There's no way on God's green earth I will ever stop talking about the 99-1 Cup Winners' Cup final, especially when we get Chucky in, which we're going to do soon. So Cavani. Okay, I get where you come from. Few people compared it to Zlatan. Not quite on that page, if I'm being brutally honest. No. I always think Zlatan is a far better player than Edison Cavani.
Yes.
And also Zlatan had more in the tank when he came in.
And also Zlatan had a relationship with Jose that meant that things worked much more quickly. It's not the same at all, I don't think. Carry on, sorry.
No, you're right. Luka Jovic.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Someone who's still obviously got a lot of football left in him. Is he, 22?
Something like that.
Not had a great time of it, if we're being brutally honest, at Real Madrid.
He's been unfortunate that his run of poor form has coincided with Karim Benzema, I think, being maybe the 3rd best striker in the world in the last sort of 18 months. He's really recaptured his form. He was a big part of why, maybe the biggest part of why Real Madrid reclaimed La Liga. Obviously, another big part of that was the meltdown going on at Barcelona. But Jovic hasn't really had much of a chance. I know he's not been great as well, but yeah, Karim Benzema's just had a real renaissance late in his career, and it's hard to sort of usurp him. And
he's had injuries, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's not had the best of luck of it with injuries. And I don't know with Real Madrid, they're such a difficult club to gauge on a player. Like, it's just so weird. Like, you see someone like Chicharito who can't get United to go to Real Madrid and start banging him for fun. You see like Adebayo go over there and, you know what I mean? It's like, they have this sort of, with strikers over there, you can never quite tell what is going on. There's politics involved.
And there's so much politics.
You can be a striker who's scoring, and yet, you know, the fans, for whatever reason, aren't as fond of you. You'll get dropped.
And then I've players like Rodrigo or, I can't remember his name, the Brazilian winger they've got, where they're not playing very well particularly, and yet they're like, no, this is the guy who's going to take us forward for the next 10 years. You're like, what, excuse me? This guy doesn't score. This guy, who you hate, scores twice as many. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not how it works here.
It's like Gareth Bale wins everything there, and yet somehow becomes, persona non grata.
Yeah, exactly. Jovic, for me, I would take it over
That's a good point,
Cavani.
Yeah. Rodriguez, another example, well said.
Yeah, exactly. I would take it over Cavani. But again, if there's an option to buy and he's sensational for a year, that's one thing, because like I said, he's got a career ahead of him. But Cavani is like I keep saying, he's the final piece that you plug in at the end where you go, you know what, look, take a step back, we've got ourselves a front line here. We've got Igalo to do this job, we've got Cavani to do this job, we've got Martial, let's make the push for the title this season. Cavani, we're not going to win the title this year. Cavani's not going to take us from this to this. He's just sort of settles out the attack, and if anything, he might come in on bigger wages than Martial and try and kick him out of the team, which I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest, especially because no matter how good he is, he's retiring in 3 years no matter what.
Yeah.
So I just think it's an interesting one, and for me, it's no good.
Where do you think we need to go with this then? Because are we looking now, if we bring a player in, we look at it long term, or do we need that stopgap? Do we need someone who comes in? If these are the alternatives to Sancho, is it just get someone in until we get Sancho?
I would take a stopgap for Sancho.
Yep.
But this is a stopgap for, Haaland or whoever the next striker is. I don't think we need that. We've got that in Ighalo. I know he's not that great, but he can score. He's got a finish on him. He's got decent positioning. Martial's the main striker. If we're gonna get someone in up front, for me it needs to be the next striker. Whereas on the right hand side, we literally have 0 players in the club whose first choice position is right wing. We play Greenwood there as a striker. We play Dan James there as a left wing. We play Mata there, who is 34 and an attacking mid. We've literally got no right wingers. No. I'd take a stopgap there. I'd take a loan there, just because we need someone to play there. But I don't think we need a stopgap at striker at the moment, because isn't that what Ighalo is?
Right, so if we went for a striker then, could Jovic be that long term then, do you think?
Maybe, if it's a loan with an option to buy, let's say it's a year loan with a 50 million option to buy, if you get a great striker, if he scores 15 goals for us and looks really good or, whatever, then that might be worth it, because you're getting a taste of someone that could be your striker for 5 years. Whereas Cavani can't be that no matter how good he is.
No, Zayn.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, is this the Gooner?
Yeah.
You will need Sancho, as we are getting Partey and Zaha.
Oh, you're getting Zaha, are you? Oh my God! I hope he doesn't score like he always scores. He's got 3 goals in 2 seasons. Don't get Zaha. For God's sake! I like Zaha as well, but you'll need him. You're gonna need him, mate, because we've got Zaha on the way, boy.
Just a small matter if you're in half your team to sort out, then you'll be challenging again.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Just buy a midfield, why don't you, while you're at it, or any defenders.
Tuck says he's a good player, Jovic.
Yeah.
I like that. Great comment.
Cheers,
nicely done. Shivan Moodley says we should sign Zaha and Sancho just to prove everyone wrong about Man United. We'll be overloaded up front and the season will be so much fun. Yeah. I get where you come from. I think we should buy them because we need them, though, even better, rather than just proving everyone wrong. Over on the poll, how are we doing on the poll, Mr. Smith?
With less than a week to go, are you confident United can get Sancho this transfer window? This is over on Stretford Paddock on Twitter. Make sure you vote in there. Every vote counts. It's like the general election, I suppose, isn't it? Although less important. Can we get Sancho this summer? Yes, we can at 36%. I'm not sure. I wish they put that in the referendum, don't you? What percent do you think it would have got? Leave, remain, I'm not sure. 90%. I'm not sure on 18%. No, I'm done with this. Leading the way there on 44.6%. It seems as though there's a lot of fatigue, transfer fatigue in the whole Sancho deal. Zayn, Joe Zaha scored against you. Thanks.
Right, okay.
He's world class then.
In that case, we should get him. He was the lad that scored against us for Brighton. We should get him as well.
More pay.
Yeah, if you score against us, you get a deal. That's how it works. We also had Zaha, and it didn't work out for him. So he doesn't really fit in that well at a massive club. Maybe a lower club he'll do well at. So you never know.
I'm not having a go at Zaha, but I'm just trying to have a go at Zayn through the medium of Zaha.
Through the medium of Zaha, yeah. I think that's a bit of a joke there.
We like Zayn, really.
Yes. Guys, do get involved in the comments. Don't just let Zayn hijack this with his absolute nonsensical ramblings about Arsenal Football Club. Let us know what you think of Jadon Sancho. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you want it to happen? Do United need to go in with a bid again this summer? Or do you think it might be next season when we're looking at him? If we don't get him, who do you want to see? Do you want to see Ismail Azar? He's been one that's been mentioned about in the comments. Do you want to see Luka Jovic? Do you want to see Edison Cavani? 3 names that have been coming up. And also, Ousmane Dembele. We and Joe were a bit like, really? But do you think that he could be an option as well? Because United all of a sudden are getting linked with all these players, and you can see from the graphic there that Mundo Deportivo saying that Ousmane Dembele's camp has confirmed the reports of him being close to joining United.
Yeah, it's up to him.
Yeah, inclusivity. I don't care if he's a bit camp. Aren't we all? I am. There's nothing wrong with that. A deal will be closed for around €75 million, including bonuses. That's a massive signing, that.
That's mad.
That's massive money. That'd make him like
We
our
just spent
fifth most.
75 million quid on him out of nowhere.
Imagine all the memes as well. I don't want from the Scousers.
When he's injured straight away.
The Scousers will be getting them missed opportunities out from the new camp and ramming them down our throat. So I mean, if that happens, that's got to be the Sancho money, if that's true. Which is, I'm taking that with a bit of a pinch of salt, and being brutally honest.
75 million, so much again. As on AS, sorry. As I'm reading it because it's all capitals. AS on Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele is very close to joining Man United, which would give Barcelona the finance to buy Memphis Depay. Barcelona would accept an offer between 50 million and 60 million. 50 then. What would you accept? Wow, between 50 and 60. 50? Yeah, I should have just said 60. What do you mean between 50 and 60? That's 50. Imagine if they say they'd take between 50 and 60. 60 then.
Yeah, but no,
For being so honest, we'll give you the top end.
Would it go? Now, would it go? Between 50 and 60?
Here's a number.
59.
57.
Yeah.
60.1. Come on. Zayn back at it. Back once again with the Zayn. Oh, can you scroll back up? Because Zayn's chatting. Ousmane Dembele is better than Sancho. Sancho is English and this overrated. Maybe means thus. Or
thus, yes. I don't know. I'm not, like we said, we've been about this. And again, I have to take these sort of stories with a pinch of salt because he's close. Is he? Is he really that close?
Yeah.
We are on the phone to his agent now saying, get his bags packed. And Barcelona are like, yeah, ring Memphis, we've got the money. I don't think he is close at all. No. I think he's, I'll tell you what, he's 5 days away, minimum, or maximum, sorry, because that's when the transfer window shuts, obviously. So I don't see that these deals are close. I think that there might be an interest, or it seems like there is an interest in Ousmane Dembele, but I don't know how solid that interest is. And the problem is, right, and we know this, and I always use the example of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Mm-hmm. When we signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think it was Woodward or someone came out and said, we scouted 1,200 right backs. Mm-hmm. We had a database of basically any right back in the world.
If your son has kicked a football on a park
towards the right-hand side of the pitch,
we've seen him.
We've got him on our database of right backs, and we whittled it down to like 5, and then got it down to the one that everyone was talking about, and the one that everyone said we should sign. A mile off. Yeah, that's how we did it. But my point is, at one point we had this database of all these right backs that were apparently, keeping tabs on. You could have said all of them were linked with United, technically.
Do you know something that's funny? As the internet has gone on, one thing that has actually happened is we've heard of all the players now. Not all of them, obviously. You occasionally hear of a gem, Kante, Mahrez, these sorts of players where I had never heard of them. Like Ousmane Dembele, Jovic, who's the Real Madrid player who they just spent 60 million on, who's not really getting a game. Cavani, who's 33. We know all these players. It is literally like, as a scout, if you're a scout in your mid-60s and you've been doing this job for 30 years, you must be thinking, why did they have to release Football Manager? Everyone knows what we do. There's a big database with all numbers on it, and we just pick them. We just know all the best players. It's ruined it for everyone. Scouting don't even exist anymore. It's just FIFA. I said it last time. I'll say it again.
It makes my life a lot easier.
It's ridiculous. Literally, all the players we're linked with are just the players that any person who played FIFA would pick. It's ridiculous. Tell us he's good. 84 rated.
Can we afford that, though? Can we afford to go for the unearthed gem?
I don't know. Maybe
Because
not.
Do you think we have to be a little bit more sort of oven ready, as they say? An oven ready Brexit deal. But do you think that? Sorry, Mike C says, how bad is our season with no more signings? Terrible. What's this? Is there another one? Yeah, I think this is Tell, who says, I think Zaha wouldn't be horrible. Dan James.
Sorry, I thought you said Zaha.
Did I say Zaha then?
It sounded like you did.
Sorry.
Go on, read this.
I think Zaha wouldn't be horrible.
Yes.
Dan James is very fast, but fastest speed was 35.04 kilometres per hour. Zaha is levels above faster at 36.48 kilometres per hour.
And I have it on good authority that the only stat that matters, top speed. It's like Jeremy Clarkson, isn't it?
I like that. Sal's done his own work.
He's done his own work.
Like, fair play to him,
36 kilometres
He's not just going in the comments saying, I think he's good.
That means if Sar runs in a National Trust car park, he's getting a 50 quid fine. 10 mile an hour limit in there. Unbelievable.
Exactly. And we don't want that to happen. Someone else says, Optastat say Greenwood clocked 37.4 kilometres an hour last season. Well, I tell you what, if only it wasn't about football, it was just about racing.
That'd be so good, wouldn't it?
Imagine instead of they said, all right, instead of who scores the most goals, we're going to do it differently this time. Whoever can get to the other end of the pitch the quickest.
We've put 120 million on the penalty spot.
Yeah.
You, Sarr, Sancho, Greenwood, Yuri, I know you're already here, but you can have it if you win it. Whoever gets to it first, we're signing you. 3, 2... hey, back! You set off on 1 there. We like that. He's a bit sneaky. Sarr, you're in.
Unfortunately, though, I don't think that is the way... someone's saying why. Oh,
it's Zayn. Even if he's making a good point, we have to criticise him.
Why didn't you sign Usain Bolt? We wanted to. We didn't want to. Usain Bolt wanted to come in, and remember that time when people were saying he's a massive United fan.
Yeah.
You should just get him for the
Get him a trial.
It'd be really fast. And he went to like Australian second tier for a few games, like
for a trial. Didn't even get a game for him.
Yeah, I don't think it's just about speed. It's about quality as well. On the Telles front, remember him, Alex Telles?
I forgot we even had to talk about Telles.
The
one who we actually might sign, we're taking him for granted.
We used to build shows around him.
Yeah, we did. Build. B-I-L-D. They love it.
Love it.
They love it.
Love to see it, as the kids say. Man United are still negotiating with Porto to complete the deal for Telles. Agents are confident.
So was our friend Mohamed Bouhafsi this afternoon.
Yes, he was very confident, actually. He seems to think that that's sort of a matter of... when, not if. We know what's going on there in the fact that Telles' contract runs out soon. Manchester United are like, 12 million, I think they're looking at. Porto are like, come on. He's one of our best players. Like, we'll at least want 18 million for him. Come on, mate, help me out.
You're making us look bad.
Missus is watching, come on. Just give me the 18.
I said we're going to get 20
Give me the 18, just give me the 18. Right, we'll be all right.
15, I'll shake your hand. 15, I'll shake your hand.
I'm going to have some explaining to do when I get home. Right, it's one of them. So I think that's going to happen. I think we'll probably end up paying 14 or something, split it down the middle of the difference. We'll be happy because we've got this player in a relative bargain. They'll be happy because he's got some money for a player that's going to leave relatively soon. It all seems, happy days. The only problem with that is, and I don't know a lot about Telles, but I'd be happy to see him come. That's not enough.
Sorry, Jay, just word coming in here. Chelsea have been knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Tottenham on penalties, which means that Frank Lampard's 250 million mega spree has once again failed to deliver. As you were, sorry about that, just worth mentioning. Tottenham knock out Chelsea in the Carling Cup on penalties.
As you can see on the graphic there, we spoke to Mohamed Bouhafsi, one of the best looking lads I think I've ever interviewed.
Fat Frank in tatters, they're saying online.
Frank in tatters. So I don't like this fat shaming, right?
Why?
If you're going to criticise Frank Lampard, criticise him for being an inept manager, not for his appearance. It's straightforward. United wants Telles. Telles wants United. I think that he will eventually join. Porto know that Alex Telles wants to join United. They just need to find an agreement. It's tough in negotiations because Porto don't want him to leave. That was Mohamed Bouhafsi speaking to us today on the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Porto don't want him to leave, but he wants to go. United want him. And the prices aren't that ridiculous, so it should happen.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face facts, right? If we can't sign Alex Telles, no disrespect to the lad, something's going drastically wrong at Old Trafford, is it?
Yeah, that's not a testament or an indictment on his quality. That's the fees we're talking about here is 20 million euros at most. Like, if we can't get a 20 million euro deal done for a player we supposedly want, what are we doing? How is this taking that long? I still don't get right. Sorry it just reminds me. That Van der Beek deal, the more time we've had after it, the more insane it was. The first news was Saturday night. We'd signed him on Tuesday. How did that happen? How out of character is that? Who did that deal? Because it wasn't Matt Judge and Ed Woodward.
It was Van der Sar, wasn't it?
It must have been.
Van der Sar
so weird, that
probably
deal.
got on the phone to Ollie and said, listen, you can have him for 40. There's no ifs or buts about that. We're not going to budge on that. So you can either have him for that or not at all. What you're saying. And Ollie was like, yes, please.
It's so weird, though. We've done no other deals like that in like 3 or 4 years. And we just signed one player for double the money that Telles was for just in 3 days.
Do you think that sort of is part of the problem at United?
Maybe.
Is the fact that you have so much drama and it drags on and intermediaries get involved and then you have all these stories and clubs get the backup. Yeah. Because if you're turning on the telly or going in the papers or going on the internet or whatever and you're seeing, United are close to signing your star player and you think, well, no, you're not. You've not even bid for him, so you can jog on if you think we're just going to give him to you. Do you think that might sort of strengthen teams' resolve even because they're seeing this and it's played out in the limelight? Because, if you're the CEO or whatever, or the manager at Porto, you're probably not used to this kind of scrutiny on one of your players. And all of a sudden, you've got like the world's media talking about it. every part of the transfer negotiation or the deal is broadcast constantly, it must be annoying. And you're thinking, well, hang on a minute. And there's that element of, we're not just going to get bullied off United because they're playing games in the press as well.
Yeah, and exactly, the playing games is a thing that I always think of, is because we see, you can sometimes see, often the BBC will do it, Simon Stone's one for it, where he'll do a tweet and you go, Woodward told you that. I can smell his breath on it.
Do you remember the one that on the embargo that went out at half-time? Where everyone was saying about it. It was literally like...
Word for word.
The Athletic had it, everyone from the Athletic had it.
Yeah.
All the Nationals over here had it. It was like, brief, half-10 embargo. And it all went out at half-10. It's like, oh, Manchester United are unhappy with her. And you think, come on. What is the point in that story? That's just Woodward saying... Put this out for us because this is what I want to say.
Dortmund see those stories.
Of course they do.
And United see it when Dortmund come out and say, oh, we're so happy you're staying for a year. Like, they see all of this back and forth, and there's the conversations that go on behind the scenes and there's the conversations that go on in the media. And you've got to save face because less and less fans are, more and more, fans can see through these games and how things are being done, and we sort of have a wiseness to us and a more of a savviness to us, I think, as a fan base generally. And we can see through these things. But a lot of fans do just see what they see in the newspaper and they believe it. And they don't know that Dortmund's saying one thing and United saying the other thing. So when Dortmund see, that United have put that out, they're thinking, well, all their fans are going to believe that. Well, we've got to put something out that makes them look stupid, or, this back and forth. You just think, sometimes I bet they just think, oh, fuck it then. If you're going to come out and just say that we're acting like, or they're not being very nice, or we're not happy with this intermediary, or we think we're going to sign that player, you just be like, well, I'm not going to speak to you then. You're just being arseholes.
Because that's what the problem is. Like, certain things do get leaked that you can't help.
Yeah.
Someone knows something, like Sancho spoke to one of his mates, or there's someone involved in the transfer at some level who's told someone they shouldn't have, and it gets leaked. But when it's like the club briefing, like, do you remember when we went in for Wan-Bissaka? And all the stories were coming out about how United, one of the deals has been, or the deal they're putting forward is, if we win the Champions League, we'll pay $5 million. That obviously came out of the Crystal Palace side.
Yeah, it must
be. Crystal Palace are like, this is ridiculous. Let's put this out there. Show them how ridiculous it is. Make them look stupid. So they'll get rid of that clause and pay the money, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But it can backfire where you get clubs like you say and thinking, I'm not having this.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Andy Mitten on Sky Sports News on Sunday, he was on there and he was saying that United have lost the ability to do the dark arts. He was saying, welcome to the academy, by the way, David Gelder. He was saying United have lost the ability to do the dark arts. So what he meant was, see when in the past, what he'd say like Dimitar Berbatov, we let Berbatov know. Berbatov hankers for a move, moves it forward, and what'll go, and we're able to get it done. Maybe the similar thing with Robin van Persie. You're able to do that sort of thing. United aren't able to do that now.
No.
It seems to get played out in the press. It goes long-winded. You end up sort of being held to ransom, and then if we want the player, as in the case of Harry Maguire, as in the case of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we end up paying what the club wanted.
On the last day.
Yeah. Like there was no sort of savviness, as you said earlier, to us getting Harry Maguire.
No.
We couldn't have paid more for Harry Maguire if we tried. That was literally the most anyone was ever going to pay for him.
Yeah.
But almost pretty much the same with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, neither of those players will go for that fee now.
No.
And that's not I really like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think Harry Maguire gets some undue criticism. But we couldn't sell either of them tomorrow for the prices we paid for them.
But in fairness,
you know what I mean?
I don't think that Man City could sell Ruben Diaz
for
65 million, and they've just paid that for him today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just always the way, isn't
it? They've paid the top end for him, like what we did.
Yeah.
I think with City, it's slightly different, is that if City come in, they've got that much money, that you're going to say, right, okay, well, he was 40, but because it's you, it's 70.
Yeah.
Well, 60 seems to be their sort of...
Yeah.
They buy a lot of players around the sort of 30, 40, 50, 60 million pound mark, don't they? No matter what. They don't tend to buy like the 80 millions, the 90 millions, but they do
I think Mahrez is still the record signing.
Was he 6 there?
65, I think. He'll have equalised it.
Equalised that fee.
Equalled it. There's a finality to the Twitter poll. We're going to come back to some of your super chats, but over on Stretford Paddock Twitter, we've asked you, with less than a week to go, are you confident that United can get Sancho this transfer window? The final scores are in. 35.8 say yes, 19 say I'm not sure, and 45.2, I'm getting ahead of myself here, 45.2 of you, the majority vote no, I'm done with this.
Do you know what? I mean, what did you say? You're not sure? Oh, yes, we can. I can't remember what you said.
I think yes, we can.
You're Barack Obama. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And
we've got a couple of super chats. If you scroll back up, I think.
hang on a minute. Can you just go that one with Zayn?
We've got. He's done another one.
This is the worst joke I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Let's
Genuinely.
Let's
go on, Joe. You can do this
Zayn
because it's
has said
absolutely abysmal.
In one of the most, what should we say, misplaced sort of, confidence in his own humour. He has said.
This is like.
Yeah. You do that while I say it. Harry Potter was even cheaper than Harry Maguire. No one bought Harry Potter. Do you mean the book or do you mean the man? Because no one bought Harry Potter. I think there's another super chat above that one if you want to scroll up, Cam.
That is proper.
Yeah. Zayn before that said Chelsea losing to Spurs, who are rubbish. London is still red. Hey?
I'm worried about how old Zayn is with his jokes
London
and his
was
comments.
red for about three weeks.
Yeah, London is red. Yes, that famous team London that haven't won the Premier League for 17 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, or 16 years.
The other thing I read about London is a lot of Labour voters. That's about it.
I'm worried that Zayn may be 11 years old. We've almost forgot. Lots of players are leaving Manchester United.
God, what time is it, Jay?
It's time we carried on because there's more people watching now than there was before, so we're not going anywhere.
We ain't going anywhere.
We're here. I'm stopping here, lad. We're like hobnobs in cups of tea. I'm going nowhere, son.
Oh my God. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street in here. I'm not fucking leaving. Right. Fabrizio Romano on Alex Tellers. No, it's not. Andreas Pereira joins Lazio Medicals tomorrow. That ain't Alex Tellers. That's Andreas Pereira. He is having a medical tomorrow at Lazio. Can we talk about some of the outgoings? I want to circle back to Sancho before we leave. But before that, let's pump our thoughts into Andreas Pereira.
Right, okay. I've said this before and I'll say it again because you've asked me. I'm glad that Andreas Pereira is going out on a loan. I hope it becomes a permanent deal. I like Pereira. I think he's a genuine lad. He tries his best. He's never sort of, not turned up and not give it his all.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And I can't remember a player at a lower level playing so many games for Manchester United. He's played 40 games last season. I've never seen a player as bad as Pereira play that many games in a season. You name me, there have been worse United players, Bebe and Obertan and players like that. They didn't play 40 games in a season. So I'm sorry, Pereira, because I like you, mate, but not good enough.
I'm struggling to think of any. Rio Ferdinand, that first Moyes season wasn't great, was he? But he was one of the best centre-backs we've ever had, so you gave him a minute. And
even then, I wouldn't have put him in that sort of category.
I'm kidding.
Yes, thank God for that.
Yeah, Pereira, the thing for me, I think we can all agree, he's not quite good enough for United.
No.
This, again, I'll come back to it briefly before I move on. This story that came out in Sky Sports the other day, there is simply no interest in Andreas Pereira, Phil Jones, all these players. Absolute bullshit, which I said at the time, just clearly, let's just hammer Man United. You can say whatever you want, open season, no journalistic integrity, just say whatever you want. As we're seeing, there clearly is interest in Andreas Pereira.
That was
only a couple of days after that article came out.
Really weird that you mentioned that about the fact that they just sort of listed everyone in the squad, didn't they? Went, no interest in any of these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Phil Jones, no. Smalling, no.
Pereira,
no. Delote, no. And you're like,
well, that's
really?
not true, is it? That isn't true, and that's proven not to be true.
A week later, all of them are on the verge of moving. So,
now, sorry to be a bit of a moaner, if you'll allow the word.
I don't like that language on this show, so let's not use such profanity again.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. The reason I don't like this deal, the details that we've been given is it's a 1-year loan with an option to buy of 27 million euros. We will be paying half of the fee, half of the wages for Andreas Pereira to play in Lazio. There is no loan fee. Man United are paying 60 grand a week for a player to play in another country with a loan fee, an option to buy, that is far higher than his value. That deal, they won't buy him at that price. We're getting stitched up.
That is a really good
we're
point.
losing back up in it. And like I said, the fact that he played so many games last year wasn't a good thing. But he was picked a lot.
Yeah.
He's obviously not that low on the pecking order. They're not gonna pay 27 million for Andreas Pereira. They haven't spent 27 million euros. I saw this on Reddit, so that's where I'm getting this fact from. They haven't spent 27 million euros on a player since 2001. And they're gonna spend that much on Andreas Pereira, are they? We're basically giving them a player for half price for a year to plug a gap that they've got, and then they'll just send him back next year. It's good for him to get some playing time, but it's no good for United. Why don't you put a £12 million clause in? Why don't you put a 27 million euros? Like, who's paying that for him?
It sounds like Lazio have gone to us. Say what? Listen, right?
Yeah.
Pay us half his wages now, right?
What? But he still plays for us?
Yeah, no, right.
He plays for you?
Yeah, no, but hear me out.
Right.
And at the end of the season, I can't say it's guaranteed, but you can trust me.
Right.
We'll give you 27 million.
27? That's a lot. I mean, yeah, great.
27 million quid for him, right? Probably. I'm not guaranteeing it, but trust me.
Hey, lads, they're going to pay us 27
Yeah,
million.
I mean, I've got it on good authority. Yeah, we'll have that for you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Like, if they'd have said 70, I reckon if they'd have said option to buy 100 million euros, we'd have paid all his wages. Honestly. They only offered us 27 million euros for it. Have they said that? Yeah.
It's all but guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I guarantee at the end of the season they go, you know what? We're all right. You can have him back.
Anyway.
We haven't got 27 million for you.
Yeah. Alec Williams, Lazio are paying the wages, Romano said. Right, okay. Well,
there's no loan fee.
That was a correction to the initial reports that I saw. Makes me feel a bit better.
Even so, can we say 27 million isn't happening?
That's not happening.
Unless he goes to Lazio and scores hat-tricks every game. So I don't see that. Who else have we got going? Is there any more for any more?
We've got Diogo Dalot, haven't we?
Diogo Dalot, is there another one there? Another quote for us?
Got anything on Dalot, Cam?
Oh, here we go.
Nothing on Dalot.
It's Smalling. Fabrizio Romano says, Roma will send new bid for Smalling.
Yeah.
Now, we know with Smalling
Imagine
that
if that don't happen.
Roma offered 12 million, I think it was. Very sort of similar to the way the Tellers deal's going down.
Yeah,
they offered 12, we wanted 20. They're saying they've not budged, but apparently there's sort of like a bit more of a sense of urgency in Italy that they want to try and get this deal done. Obviously had a fantastic season at Roma last season. Did really well. I think he was voted in, as one of the best players in Serie A. I like Chris Smalling. I'm actually sorry to see him going away because I thought at one point he was going to have a great future at United. Hasn't worked out, and this move suits him. He's obviously enjoyed his time in Roma. He's done well. Even if we accepted the 12 million for him, I think you're getting money for a player that isn't going to play for Manchester United anytime soon. So be it. And also there's the element of Chris Smalling. He's been around here for a long time. He sort of deserves his move now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's like just let him go because I know you just can't give players away. But if you can take a little bit less than you wanted because it's someone who's been a good servant, then I think you should. But obviously this is Manchester United, and we do things differently. Guys, just before we wrap up as well, don't forget to hit that like button.
Yes.
And do get involved in the comments and do hit subscribe as well. If you're not subscribing, Cam can put a link in the chat to subscribe to Stretford Paddock.
Zane again said, we'll give you Holden and Mustafi for Dalot and Smalling. No thanks, we're all right. Should we have a little quick recap of the Sancho news? Because there's been a hell of a lot of it tonight before we go. First up then, Jadon Sancho, let's lay it on the table what's happened tonight. Because it's been a big day in the transfers world, hasn't it?
It's been exhausting.
It's been very exhausting.
40 years old, I haven't got time for all this.
Fabrizio Romano coming out tonight saying that Sancho is considered the main target for Manchester United, but still no new bid made. The club also has other options, which we are assuming maybe is Ismail Assar, maybe Ousmane Dembele based on the other quotes. There was also something from Romano, I don't know if you got that one ready, talking about this potential bid because Sky Sports had said United have made a 90 million plus 20 million euro bid that had been rejected. On that news, Fabrizio Romano said, here we go, boys. Come on.
Cheeky.
There he goes. He said, during last contacts, Borussia Dortmund told again that they won't accept any bid for less than 120 million euros for Sancho. We're still in the same position. United were ready to make a bid, so this bid was never officially made, which is what Sky had reported. They were ready to make a bid of 90 million euros, but it would have been refused. Dortmund are still convinced they will keep Sancho this season.
Sounds like you're at school when you ask a girl's mate, do you think she'll go out with me? No, all right.
Yeah, that's it. That's where we are.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm not going to ask her.
I won't ask her.
I won't even ask her.
Do you think she'll have it? Do you think she'll go out with me? Yeah, ask her. All right, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's ridiculous that this is Manchester United Football Club and this is how we're doing business.
We know it's going to take 120 million euros. There are also other reports tonight that he's not for sale at any price now, which stink to me of a Dortmund sort of press release, to be honest. Even if they bid 150 million, we ain't going to sign you. We ain't going to sell him.
You know my thoughts.
Who knows? Who knows exactly what's going on? But we're going to be covering it all here on Stretford Paddock, on Transfers Live.
Transfers Live. Do you know what I'm looking forward to as well? We're back tomorrow.
Yes.
What's going down tomorrow? We've got the watch along tomorrow.
We've got the watch along.
So we've got Paper Talk in the morning. I think it's Casey, in the morning. Then we'll have the watch along in the evening. She'll have McCullough's here, Howson's here, Joe's here. I think me and Baggers will be here as well doing the review after the game, and then you'll have fan cams as well. And then on, what day is that? On Thursday, we'll have podcasts.
Transfers live.
Transfers
again.
live. Got an interview as well on Thursday. And a man who's been on top of the Sancho news is going to be chatting to us over from Germany. So I don't want to say too much, but you'll like it. So yeah, we'll be chatting to him on Thursday. And obviously, we'll be looking ahead towards, what's this weekend?
Well, I'll tell you what it is this weekend. We've got Spurs. And then the next day, the transfer window shuts.
And
how will Woodward get from London to Germany in 4 hours? Because he can't miss the game.
Transfer deadline day as well.
Transfer deadline day.
We are absolutely berserk on it.
It's going to pop off.
It's going to pop off.
We've got 5 days till the transfer window shuts.
So we're going to keep you posted every day. And on transfer deadline day, we're going to be live more or less all day. We're going to be at Old Trafford. We're going to be chatting to different journalists. Joe's going to be wearing lederhosen and running through the streets of Manchester.
Do whatever it takes.
Screaming, Schnell. Is that the word?
I don't know.
What's the word for hurry?
I'll be honest with you, Jay.
We'll
I'm not sure.
Don't embarrass me like that again.
I don't know German. I don't know German. You know this.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry about that, people. So it's all happening. So as always, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. This has been Transfers Live on Stretford Paddock. Thanks for watching.